your existing results equal your potential minus your fear. So what happens? We minimize fear, which gets you closer to your potential.
Please note, the content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. I am so excited to today be welcoming on Stuart, the athlete's secret weapon. What level of athletes do you work with?
World and Olympic champions, so 47 world and Olympic champions currently as clients.
How did your immersion with elite athletes start? How did you end up in that very niche area of hypnosis?
I've always been passionate about sports. Always loved motorsports. In Sydney, where I grew up, my brother was always bullied, so we ended up going through to martial arts in judo. When we left New South Wales, I really loved doing that. Came back up to Queensland and I went, I want to get back into something like that, physically and mentally. Seoul Olympics, 1988, they had Taekwondo as a demonstrator sport. And I went, oh, I want to do that. That looks pretty awesome. So I started Taekwondo. I was average, but I was fast, I was strong, I was flexible, but I didn't have what it really took up here as far as competitive. My mum's a naturopath and hypnotherapist, and I was talking to her one day, coming up to, I think, a black belt grading of mine, and this is where I'm at, this is what I'm going through, this is what I need. And she goes, oh, I can help you with that. So there I was sitting in a comfortable chair for an hour and a half going, blah, 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 how's this going?
Hang on, wait. Was your internal dialogue going, this is not going to work, or were you? Did you believe in the process at that point?
I've always been used as a guinea pig by my mum and dad when they were doing hypnosis. I just wanted to kind of experience it, but there was no real clinical or beneficial reason to do it. They wanted to get me into a nice deep state, which I still think I'm in.
Quiet the kids.
Yeah, shut them up. They can't talk. So I was talking to mum, and even mum who's got zero sporting knowledge and ability or awareness still managed to pick up the essentials of what I was doing through what she was listening to, my wording thrown back in through me, minus the filters and the fear filters and the survival filters I had within Taekwondo and my sport. And I remember, like, my internal dialogue is, how's this going to help? What's it going to do? Oh, I like that. Yeah, but that's only my words. How's this really going to help? What's going on? Oh, blah, blah, blah. It's just your mother. The next day I went to training and I was just 10 foot tall and bulletproof. No one could touch me. Even my instructors going, what do you want tonight? I went, oh, I don't know, but it's good. And it was really powerful because at that point of time, me being an average athlete that was good at sport, suddenly started going to local competitions and state titles and national titles. I just went from average to being towards the top. And then I realized, hang on, if that's what I can do personally, through someone who didn't have the sporting knowledge and ability, what could I do if that was me? Christmas, before that, Christmas 99, I was at a Christmas party for my now ex-wife. Soccer ball brought out, and me, 10 foot tall, bulletproof, black belt, I got this, no problem. And I'm used to training on timber polished floors or on the actual competition mats. But I was playing soccer, so we had grass, we had shoes, and basically I pivoted with my right foot to kick a ball with my left, and my shoe gripped and my leg kept going. So ACL, medial meniscus, that was it basically, on crutches for 12 months and in a leg brace, having my knee fixed. And so basically missed out in the Olympics. So I was in the kind of the training squad as such. So I know what it takes to get to the top mentally within sports. I know what it takes physically, but I also know what happens when you crash. And I crash big time because the higher you go in sport, the bigger the crash.
Yeah.
And the bigger the crash, the harder it is to get back up because your brain's going, yeah, I want to be successful again, but I don't want to crash, so I'm going to limit your success. Okay, so there's all these external factors that come into play within that. So I realized that when I start working with athletes, because that was my main thing, I want to be working with the elite.
So if you said the higher you go, the harder you crash.
Yeah.
How does that influence the work that you do with athletes in terms of the recovery process?
Yeah, I will not take a client on unless I fully explain as my duty of care to look after them as number one priority.
Yeah.
Okay? So I know by doing this, they're potentially at risk of doing this. So I will not take them on because I go, right, we're going to push you to limits of mind and body to get to that, but I also need to manage you on the way down or transition you into a different pathway in life where we can still have that peak performance. But a lot of athletes will, and they're experiencing it at the moment, they'll have the post-Olympic blues. They'll get up here and they're living this incredible lifestyle, and they come back to training.
Yeah.
Or they retire, or whatever it might be, but they crash, and they don't find that same rush anymore. So they go looking for it, okay, which is why a lot of ex-elite athletes turn towards cigarettes and drugs and alcohol and gambling and violence and you name it, because they're looking for a similar rush.
What division would you place between physical strength and mental capacity when it comes to elite sport and peak performance?
It will be with age and experience within sport. Okay, you're never going to find an elite athlete who's 8 years old, because when you first get into sport, you're actually learning the techniques, the skill, building the strength up. So it's all physical until you get to that point where it's probably up around the 80%. It starts becoming mental. Okay, so when you've got your skill level and your speed and your performance physically, that's when it becomes about the mental aspect of it. So I will get athletes from about the 80% mark. Okay, so when they start hitting towards the potential, people start feeling resistance to potential physically and mentally around the 40%. It's then between the 40 and 80%, they start having all these internal battles. But it's the last 20% that really pushes back. This is a fear of success. And I think that's the biggest fear that elite athletes have. It's a fear of success, not the fear of failure, surprisingly.
Can you explain and unpack the fear of success?
Sure. We live in Australia, so everything wants to kill us, every animal. Okay, so we're looking at spiders. If you have a fear of spiders, what would you do? We're naturally wired to move away from fears, aren't we? So if you have a fear of spiders, you'd move away from it. If you have a fear of snakes, you move away from it. So if athletes, according to I've got a fear of failure, no, you don't. If that was failure and you had a fear of it, you'd be moving away from failure, which is towards success. But what if you had a fear of success?
Well,
you'd actually hold yourself back. So the fear of success can come in many variations, or many factors, sorry. If you look at a successful athlete on social media, bang, they get trolled, they get abused, they get everything, everyone hates them. So therefore, the more successful, the more exposed they are to that. Okay?
Wow.
Therefore, there's that element of holding back. If you look at, say, professional golfers or tennis players or NRL players, they're put on these pedestals. So wherever you go, the more successful you become, the less privacy you have, the more exposure you have. The more exposure you have, the more risks, personally, professionally, family-wise, and financially. You're going to put yourself at risk. So the success can put you into levels of change that you didn't expect or experience in your life. If you look at second-string football teams, you look at overseas, NFL, NBL, and Australia within the AFL series, NRL series, you look at that and go, you might have an athlete who is incredible at this level, so good that they've outperformed their team, so good that they want a greater salary, but they don't fit within the salary cap, so they're then traded to a different team. They don't want to leave this team, so is their performance limited because they don't want to be pushed out? So all this is that fear of success that happens.
Does the fear of success come when you reach the 80%? Because, I would assume that an athlete goes, I just want to be the best runner in the world, and, years and years and years is dedicated. Does it come in your experience when you do get up to a certain level?
I had a 3-time world champion female who was in the Ironman triathlon, and she said before that, look, I keep hitting the brick wall. I keep hitting resistance. I can't push through this barrier. I said, okay, so all these 3 disciplines, running, swimming, and cycling, where are you sitting at? She goes, and I've written down 80% on a bit of paper. I just read 80. I said, where are you? She goes, 79.8, 80.01, or 80.5. I went, bang, there you go.
Wow.
So that's what's happened is they've pushed to a certain point because every time they've gone over, they've got injured. So the brain's going, I'll just hold you back. I'll hold you back. I'll hold you back. Okay, so now the new potential level is set at 80% to stop them getting hurt. So the only way we could actually rectify that is to not push harder, but to understand the body and the mind and how they communicate together to get to the results.
So in that case, your job is to work with them to be able to overcome. Is it a limiting belief that caps them at the 80% and then triggers the physiological response?
It's just a fear. Look, you will have athletes with limiting beliefs that are going, I'm probably not going to become a world champion. I'll only become a state champion. Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? Then they start acting and behaving like that anyway, so they're never going to get up there. But you look at Australian swimming, if you can have the state champion for the 50-metre freestyle and the 100-metre freestyle, you can almost assure them that you're going to be a gold medalist worldwide. So again, it's all people's belief that says, I can do it, I can't do it. But they're traditionally not the clients I get. The ones that I get all have the same belief. They want to be an Olympic medalist, world record holder, or premiership player. But something's holding them back. And I know that the equation, and I use it for all my peak performance, whether it's sport, business, life, art, science, you name it, it's all the same. Your existing results equal your potential minus your fear. Okay? So your existing results equal your potential minus your fear. So what happens? We minimize fear, which gets you closer to your potential. So that methodology I use is to understand where these fear responses are coming from. And if you've got a fear of success, there's 20% of your performance. Bang.
How do you work on fear?
Fear is a very simple process. Who chooses your actions?
Me.
Who chooses your behaviors?
Me.
Who chooses your communication, your conversations, your beliefs, your values?
Me.
Yeah. So therefore, you're choosing to be nervous, correct?
Yeah.
If you can choose to be nervous, why? What's the benefit of being nervous? So when we throw it over towards you and go, yeah, I'm choosing to be nervous, but if I'm choosing to be nervous, I can also choose to be relaxed. You don't go to training stressed and nervous and anxious and fearing, because that's the process. That's what you have to go through. So people fear the pressure and the judgment of the outcome. That's what they're fearing, is the unknown. So a fear is what? It's a sensation based on a thought, based on a memory. So we minimize the negative memories of previous experiences or results, replace them with a positive of this is where we're going to go. So then when we start capturing and creating a learned behavior in the future, all of a sudden the brain's going, well, that's not scary. That's what I want. So therefore it starts eliminating all these fear responses we've got within us to allow the performance to lift to the next level. We've got these two opposing, I guess, laws. Everyone knows about the law of attraction, correct? What you focus on. But then there's the opposing law of the fear of survival. Okay? The fear of survival is, right, I want to be limited, I want to be average, and I'm going to push myself. The more I push myself in training, the more physical damage I'm potentially doing to myself, putting myself at risk. And why would I do that? Because every time I compete, I get hurt. So therefore, you can see why the survival is going, right, don't go as hard. I won't give you as much energy. If you feel the fear of success, then I'm going to hold yourself back as well. So you've got the whole law of survival that's trying to keep you safe, keep you protected, keep you limited, keep you suppressed as such. So you don't go and push the limits mentally, physically, and emotionally.
How do we adhere to the survival instinct to truly stay safe versus how do you know when you can safely push it?
You've probably grown up and watched Jaws as a child. You hear that, and everyone goes, poof, instant fear of sharks. But where you're sitting at the moment, can you have a fear of sharks?
Yeah, I can.
Where?
But I don't.
How can you have a fear of sharks where you're sitting?
Just thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're standing on the beach, can you have a fear of sharks?
Yes.
Where's this fear? They don't come up onto the beach, do they?
No. Well, it depends where you are.
Yeah, literally. And if you're standing up the back of the beach, sharks aren't going to come up and grab you.
No, they're not.
No. Not possible. You can be up to here in water and there's one on your leg. Is that a fear? No. It's reality. So as soon as we start understanding what is this sensation you're feeling, is that based on a past experience to hold you back, or is it based on a belief that you might have? Have you created this fear? Yeah, you've probably created in your own head based on past and based on this trigger that says that. And if you've got any athlete that does exactly the same every time they go to a competition, that's what we shift. It's the trigger-based response. So we still have the same trigger, but instead of a negative, nervous response, we now have an excited, calm, relaxed response. So it's changing the response based on the triggers that they're going to go through.
Yeah, awesome. What role does the subconscious mind play in peak performance? 97 to 99%.
Wow. Because in the last couple of minutes, you weren't aware of your breathing, were you?
No.
But you are now. And this is.
I was only aware of the sharks.
Yeah. This is a fun thing because if you're looking at the conscious mind, and this is where I find it's interesting because people go, it's 5%, 10%. The more I work with people, the more I realise it's absolutely less, probably even less than 1%, because we cannot walk without the decision to walk. But as soon as we make the decision to walk, then it becomes an unconscious response. And I've done this with personal trainers, exercise physiologists. We go, right, what's the first physical movement that happens for you to walk? No one's ever got it. It's not moving your leg because you've got equal pressure on your feet. You can't move your leg. If you can't move one forward and you don't lean forward, you're going to fall over backwards. The first thing that moves is actually your head. Once there's a need or an intention, which is a conscious decision or an automatic response, then the rest of it becomes automatic. I mean, us as guys, we can't do more than 2 things at once.
So they say, hey?
Yeah, you want to paralyse a man, put a remote control in their hand. And then talk to us, because we can't do it. It's that easy. So therefore, we need to be able to go to an automatic state. So I look at a lot of the athletes who go, if they get nervous before competing, why? Well, they always have, because they always have, because they always have, because probably a parent or a coach said it's good to be nervous because it means that you care. So guess what?
Yeah.
They go, oh, that's good to be nervous. It means that I care. Therefore, they carry it through. But I can guarantee when you're nervous, what that does to the nervous system, to the muscles, to the body, and to the mind, it's not going to give you peak performance. You don't get nervous before training, so why get nervous before a competition? You've got a big competition coming up. Why? Is the pool 55 metres long? No, it's 50. Well, it's not a big competition. It's just a normal competition. How is it a big competition? Because you can only swim as fast as you can swim. It's only a big competition because of the pressure that other people put on. And if others are putting pressure on, it means that pressure is actually sinking so many that all you have to do is take your pressure off, give it to someone else, poof, you're going to float.
Wow. What would you say the most important traits are of a mindset for elite athletes? And then we could easily transfer that to any form of peak performance.
Basically, the 3 main things that I work with, because when an athlete comes to me, they want certain results. I'm not one of these practitioners that go, right, let's go back and talk about the problems and talk about your parents and how does that make you feel and what's your favourite colour. They don't care. Okay? They seriously don't care. They go, right, this is where I am. That's where I want to go. What do I need to change to get to that point?
Yeah.
Easy.
So they're all at threshold already then?
Yeah.
Oh, which...
They only come to me when they've got a mental problem that they know is taking them away from their peak performance.
Yeah.
Whereas the young juniors down here, they don't know what the potential is yet. So therefore, they haven't had the pushback or the experiences or the bullies or the mindset or the game playing or all the stuff that happens internally. My 3 major things would be, right, number 1, where do you want to go? Okay, because motivation is only possible when you have direction. So if you don't know why you get out of bed and why you train and where you want to go, there's no use doing anything. Number 2 is the peak performance state. How do we set up the peak performance state within an athlete? Peak performance state is probably different to the person you are. So we've got to separate the 2. The peak performance state will get you into that place where it feels like you're just switching into the zone every time, where you're stepping into that. I do a lot with motor racing, whether the helmet's going on, okay, whether it's a swimmer, whether the goggles go on. If it's a golf player, when they pick up the club, okay, that is then going to trigger their mind to be in this state because of the trigger-based response, mentally, bang, performance.
Is there always a physiological trigger that gets them into that peak state?
Yeah, I create that because that way it gives them a certain level of control. I also work at the unconscious level within the mind to go, when the helmet goes on, then this happens, then you will feel this, then you do that.
That's cool.
Or if you're an ice skater, when you put your right sock on first, and then you pick up your right skate first with your right hand, put on the right foot first, and then when you step on the ice with your right foot first. So what have we got? Right. How am I going to perform?
Do you think that is where, people talk a lot about superstitions and rituals pre-performance?
Yeah.
Are they connected?
Yeah. Oh, rituals, yeah. Superstitions are basically, it's a belief. It's a process. Yeah. It's a, if I do this, then I get that. It's a trigger-based response. So all we're doing is exactly the same concept, but with totally different responses. Which is one person's going to be throwing up 2 days before an event. One's going to be relaxed and just going, yep, I know how to manage this. Bang, and we're off.
Yeah. When an elite athlete has an injury, that can be quite a blow to your confidence and your trust in your own body.
Yep.
So how do you help them navigate that journey back to knowing that they can trust their entire physical vessel to once again perform at a high level?
This comes back to my experiences, basically the Olympic level in my sport, state and national titles, but then had an injury and I crashed big time. Do you have full trust in the repair? Have you done the physiological muscle strengthening processes to get you back in that space? The doctor might say, yeah, it's stronger than ever. The muscle might be going, that's stronger than ever, but they haven't worked this to go, it's got to be as strong as ever. Because again, like we said, the brain's going to go back in survival mode. How am I going to protect myself? Because I don't want to be injured again. So I'm going to be holding back by holding back. Well, it's the brain that actually is the bit that gets injured. And I say to a lot of my car races, okay, the car doesn't run off the track. This goes off track. The car doesn't crash. This crashes. So again, the body doesn't get injured without this being injured. Okay. How does it get injured? Two ways. One is literally you go push beyond your potential, which you can't do. You can only ever achieve your potential. If you go better, well, that's your new potential. So if the muscle can get to that point, why would it get injured down here? There's a potential self-sabotaging in there. If there is a fear of success, the mind can be so powerful that it'll create an injury or make you sick so that you don't perform at that level. But it's also, if you look at like a rubber band, when it's really tight, it takes a lot of energy to move a little bit. So again, what that says is if you're really tight and anxious about performance, any slight movement above that could create an injury.
Yeah.
But if you relax and you apply the same pressure, you'll have a greater speed, flexibility, greater range with less chance of injury. So my question is, how was it injured? Why were you injured? If it's because you were too tight, then we'd work on managing the fears, the doubts, the uncertainties. If it was purely like a footballer, someone ran into your knee and double jointed it and dislocated it or whatever it might be, then we know that's just a situation that occurred.
And can you always take the fear away and the emotion away enough for them to be able to perform again at that level?
No, as soon as you said that, my body just goes, no, you can't. You can take the fear away from the experience. Can they perform at a higher level again? Absolutely. But it's only for that moment. Because when they go into life, you want people to have the fear again, fear of other people and protection and safety. Like I said, this is about separating the athlete from the person. So this person goes to compete. They'll compete a lot better. And if their confidence level then, when they come off the field or out of competition, then come back into life, if their confidence is something that could lift them here in life as well, they'll take it. So I'm always kind of building the athlete, building the performance, integrating it back into life, which is building the person as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Multifaceted, multi-level play on it. So if we can kind of do this because of sport and their results, everyone over here is going to be at a better level anyway. So then when they do get the top results and they come back into life, they're not going to crash because they haven't put all their focus on sport. We put it on life and building them up as a result of the sport.
Yeah. Let's talk about visualization. So we know that obviously if we visualize, we are able to achieve and see ourselves there and act as if.
Yep.
We all hear that, every athlete visualizes the race before the race happens. Is it true and how do you use it?
I've had some of the athletes going, visualization doesn't work. I went, yeah, it does. It's just the person that taught you or you haven't applied it properly. Simple. Don't think about a blue car.
They're everywhere.
Okay, so
I love that I just want to say I love that you didn't say pink elephant.
I would never say pink elephant, but now you've thought about it.
Far too cliche, hey?
Yeah. Okay, so don't think about a blue car. Instantly takes you to a blue car, but then you then start shifting it. So if your coach says, don't worry, what have they just said? Don't think about a blue car. Okay, so instantly you go to don't worry. So you go to worry. Don't panic. Don't go out hard. Don't worry about being tackled. So what the coaches basically said was, worry, go hard, panic, get tackled. That's what they're saying. So, of course, athletes go, yeah, guess what? Visualization doesn't work because they're probably visualizing the past experiences of not wanting to get hurt, trying to fix issues that they had. So their whole visualization process is all very backward. Okay, so it's like, I'm visualizing all the things I don't want. What am I looking at? All the things I don't want.
Yeah.
Rather than just going, okay, hang on, that's where I'm going. let's visualize that
Yeah.
and start evolving into that version of the person I'm going to be. So visualization works incredibly well, and I've got some amazing processes for visualization, even including what you're talking about before, healing and helping people repair from injuries. I had a 400-meter hurdler who literally tore his hamstring off the bone. The doctors said it's going to take 8 weeks to heal. And he goes, I'm going to miss the national titles to start with, and then I'm going to miss the World Juniors. I've gone, yeah, if you keep thinking that way, you will.
Wow.
He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, the doctor said it's going to be 8 weeks. If you think it's going to take 8 weeks, which is what you've done, you've already gone, I'm going to miss the national titles and the World Juniors, because your belief says that I believe that person, therefore their belief of 8 weeks must be mine. So I'll now start conforming to it's going to take me 8 weeks. So the visualization aspect, I would get athletes to imagine, the medical shows, we see the red and white blood cells shooting down a big tube. Imagine going to that area that was injured, building up the heat, all the muscles now coming back together and reforming. And doing that, he's going, oh, okay. He was back and running personal bests in 5 weeks.
Wow. I always wonder about that because you hear about these spontaneous recoveries and these really fast recoveries. And I always wonder if the visualization is more effective if you see yourself running again, for example, or if you are imagining your internal physiology, researching with medical books so that you can actually place it back together in your mind.
Yeah. And again, it all comes back to the decision. Do I want to use someone else's belief that says it's going to be 8 weeks and I'll be good? Or do I change it myself and go, I want to be up and running again in 5? Okay. The visualization is only as powerful as the imagination.
Yeah.
Based on your choices.
Would you say that dissociative versus first person make a difference in terms of the effectiveness of the visualization?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a process of which I use YouTube of other athletes or an existing athlete who's already performed at that level. If they're not at that level now, I can use the processes to help them through watching YouTube videos to increase their endurance, technique, speed, power. The visualization aspect needs to be what I call the towards language, not the away from, which is I don't want. It's got to be that I can do it, this is what I've got to do, and I've got to follow it up with the physical aspect. Back to your point of what are the three major things. So for me, it's the focus. It's where you want to go, how you want to be. It's the peak performance state, which embodies the physical aspect as well in doing that. But then there's also the be able to manage the nerves, the doubts and fears. Once you can do that, then all of a sudden the physical body is more capable because you don't have the restriction of your muscles. You don't have the tightness. You don't have that game playing in your head. And this is what we're saying about, can you eliminate fear? No, you can't. But you can have the fear that's here. Like I said, existing results equal potential minus fear. A lot of the fear is based on the unknown. We can get rid of 97% of fears because they never happen. They're just the what ifs. So fear is that conflict between the reality and the potential what ifs.
Yeah.
Okay? If we just look at how the brain works, because you got the two components. You got the logical part of the brain goes, yeah, I can do it. It's the emotional part of the brain that goes, yeah, but remember all these experiences. Remember every time you go and get sick and you're going to it, that then creates the fear. Okay? So when you've got two different opposing thoughts or emotions, that's when you start thinking that one or this one. When you trust, you've only got one, correct? So when you're in that trust space, you don't have any conflicting ideas or emotions. So therefore you perform well. The conflicting is the thinking. And I can guarantee one's logical and one's emotional. Get rid of the emotional one and you just work on the logic. Have it on the training. Can I swim up and down the pool? Do I have my goggles? And can I breathe while underwater? Job done.
Yeah.
Then you go, right, here's the coach. There's your race plan. Do this at that speed, at that rate, and turn here. Then you'll get that result. The only way that system fails is emotions. So we take a lot of the emotions out and follow the system. And that's pretty much how it works within the brain for an elite athlete.
That's awesome. So there's a lot of elite athletes that have obviously mindset coaches. You are doing quite a niche thing in terms of bringing hypnosis in.
Yep.
How has it evolved for you? Because you are swimming in a league of your own doing this, right?
I've been basically dog paddling through the industry, if we're going to use a swimming term.
I'm picturing you dog paddling now.
Yeah, I'm trying to visualise me dog paddling. I started off by going, I'm just going to start with these juniors and get through. But these juniors haven't had the mental issues yet. So here's me thinking, if you've ever seen The Pursuit of Happiness, the movie through Will Smith, he was making all these calls to people, but he started off down the bottom of the list and started building up. And it was getting nowhere. So he went, bang, let's start at the top and work down. Okay, as soon as I started aiming at the top, because I'm looking at being the top in my industry and my profession, therefore, like attracts like. So if I'm aiming to be at the top of my profession, I'm going to be attracting people at the top in their game within sports. And they're the people I started bumping into. So how did I do it? It was purely educated guess. I know what the end result looks like. I know where I want to go. I've got the skills. I got the processes, but a lot of the traditional hypnosis processes, although powerful for the weight loss, the smoking, the anxieties, the fears, very powerful in that respect, but they weren't specific for the needs of the athlete to go, this is where I am, I want to do this. A lot of my work is actually building the person that can achieve this instead of building the results and hope that it flows back into the person. So who is this person without the world title? Who is this person without the Olympic medal? And as soon as you take the pressure off, you're more likely to achieve it.
Awesome. I would love to play, as we wrap up, a game of misconceptions. Myth busting. Would you be able to shoot back some comebacks to some common fears and blocks when it comes to hypnosis?
Go.
All right, let's go. Fear number 1. I'm scared that I'm going to get trapped in hypnosis, Stuart.
Cool. Okay. So it's easier being trapped in life than in hypnosis. So how's being trapped in life working for you?
Well, I wouldn't be seeing you if I... Nice. Number 2, I'm scared I'm going to lose control in hypnosis.
Awesome. Let's come back to the same one. So you think you're in control of your life now?
Yes.
Okay.
I got to say, your pauses are really deadly powerful pauses.
Again, it's 18 years of educated guess and testing this stuff. It's actually really... these are the fun ones that I like because... these are the same questions people ask.
Yeah.
Can you make me do things stupid like stage hypnosis? Absolutely, if you want to.
Am I going to start walking like a chicken, Stuart?
If you want to be a chicken, I can help you do that. But what's the benefit in walking like a chicken? Okay. How about, because people will go, okay, well, it's turning people into chickens. I go, yeah, but I turn chickens into champions.
Oh, look at the hang away. We need I got to put some music for that because that was just,
so
drop the mic on that one.
Yeah. So you're chicken about coming to see a hypnotherapist, but when you do, you'll become a champion. So what would you prefer, being a chicken or a champion? Your choice.
A champion, Stuart, a champion.
It takes the same amount of work. You choose.
Oh, nice. Number 4, you can't hypnotize me. Only gullible people can be hypnotized.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got your yes with the pause. Oh, wow. Like God forbid someone stays in their fear.
Because that's the fun thing. Oh, you're going to make me do something stupid or you're going to hypnotize. I'm going to be out of control. Absolutely. Then there's this whole pause and they go, and their brain just goes straight into, oh, okay. So what does that actually mean? And then they go into the internal questioning. You go, yeah, no worries. If you want to be like that, that's what it is. If you think you're going to be trapped in it, no problems. Stay trapped.
Yeah.
But why would you ask me those questions when you know I can get them out? Okay? Does it work? Well, 47 world and Olympic champions, go and ask them because they probably had exactly the same questions that you did now.
Yeah.
I like the other one is, so if you don't think sports hypnosis is going to work, send me the name of 3 of your opponents.
Oh, and they're like, no. I mean, book me.
And then they go, why 3? Bronze, silver, gold. How would you be?
That's verging. Is that verging on evil, Stuart?
No. It's one of those weird things. It's just throwing different beliefs back at them. They've got a belief you're going to turn into a chicken. Great. If you want to be a chicken, I can help you. I've done a lot of stuff on radio. I've done a lot of that stage hypnosis. I can go to stage hypnosis. We can pull a bikie out of the crowd. Okay, bald head, tats, beard, leather, denim. And you hit this music and you go, right, you're going to become a ballerina. So here's someone with no skills, no abilities, no talents, who's just wanting to be entertained and make a fool of themselves because that's their internal model of the world. They're there to be entertained and they're happy to do something stupid. They're okay with that. They're given full permission to be into that state. So they are actually in control of opening up their level of control to me.
Mm.
So that's their perception. So then I go, okay, so what's the difference? I'm on stage, I pull a ballerina out of the crowd. I hit the same music, remove all her fears and doubts and lack of belief within herself, but then I tap into the abilities, the skills, and the music to create this experience. What's the difference? It's exactly the same. And a lot of what I do in sports hypnosis, it's more alongside the stage hypnosis than it is clinical. So yeah, I still deal with the nerves, the doubts, fears. I still deal with past life stuff, but it's more like this. So when you hear this music, you become a ballerina. Now, am I talking to a ballerina or a bikie?
That's so cool. That's so cool, which is part of what makes it so effective, because we view stage hypnosis as, oh gosh, chickens and hens and dancing, but it's actually the skill set is huge.
Yeah. So everything that the stage hypnosis is, it's a trigger-based response. You got my little hypnosis going and go bang.
Mm.
It's the same sort of thing. As soon as you pick up a tennis racket, bang, you're in the zone. And they are. It's the process of the hypnosis and it's how it's applied to that trigger that's going to get the results.
That's awesome. What is one thing that you wish everybody knew about the power of our own subconscious mind?
How powerful it is. Our brain is incredibly powerful and incredibly stupid. It's going to deliver anything to you that you think you can achieve. The problem is people set average goals because they don't want to stand out. So I would suggest every person have a think about your goals, what you want to do in 3 years' time, what you think's realistic, because this is where I hate realistic goal setting, because I don't think we should be realistic. Realistic is only according to other people. So what I would suggest is aim high, because no athlete at the Olympics who got a gold medal said, I was aiming for bronze. Every athlete is aiming for gold. So therefore, you got to aim for gold in your life. What does that gold look like for you? If I knew I couldn't fail, this is what my life looks like, because the only limitation we have is our imagination. So I would suggest open up your imagination, open up your potential, open up the goals, double the goals, and now do it in half the time, okay? Because that way you're going to have more energy, more focus, and more concentrated awareness. So where you're talking about the law of attraction, when you're thinking up here, big goals, big dreams half the time, you're going to have the big opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go for average goals, average dreams in a long period of time, you're not going to see opportunities because they're not going to present themselves. So aim big, trust it, believe it, and then basically do it in half the time you think it's possible.
That's awesome. Follow-up question for that is, what if we dream big, but our inner critic is going, no, that's not achievable. So if we hit our own ceiling in terms of our own inner beliefs that don't align with our vision, what do we do then?
I would then come back to who chose these beliefs for you. Because you'll find most of the time it was someone of importance in their life, whether it's a teacher or a coach or a parent or a sibling that says you can't do that.
Mm.
And the thing is, we've got incredible people fighting to be average because they don't want to stand out. If we all just decided to stand out and just focus on ourselves instead of ripping everyone else down, the world would be so much different.
Yeah, that's so cool. And what if you can't locate where the original belief came from? What if you've just got this limiting belief and you just don't know, and what do you do then?
Change the limiting belief. If the belief is working for you, then keep working it. If the belief says I'm not good enough, well, my two favourite words are according to, and it always be their beliefs. Okay, so then comes back to what we said before. Who chooses your actions, your emotions, your behaviours, your beliefs, your habits? If you choose them, well, choose any belief. The belief is, I'm awesome, I'm worthy, I can do this. You don't need to stand in front of a mirror and go, I am awesome. Because if you have to do that, you're not awesome.
Oh, my gosh. So we've just sort of sideways shifted around, knocking affirmations out of the park, haven't we?
Affirmations are powerful when you believe in them.
Yeah, that's a key.
Okay?
Yeah.
When you live it like it's already happened, then they are powerful.
Yeah.
An affirmation is exactly a dream that's been achieved, and I am good enough. Yeah, okay. But you don't need to keep repeating to yourself, I am good enough, I am good enough, I am good enough, because it just says that you're not.
Yeah.
Right? So you just got to make the decision, go, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, this is who I'm going to be, and then do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay?
You don't have to prove to anyone that that's what you're doing or not doing. You don't have to justify. You just go, oh, well, that's who I am. That's what I'm doing.
And of all of the athletes that you've worked with through your journey, what brings you the most joy? Which part of it do you love the most?
Those moments where I get the messages, when you see on podiums, when you can see the emotion on their faces. Okay, one of my athletes on our first session, I went, right, okay, biggest decision of your life. And they're probably thinking, do I continue sport? Do I not? Let's go, right. When you hop on the podium to get your gold medal, you're going to use your right foot to step up in the podium or the left one, or you're going to jump up. And they go, perception of choice. Their brain is just going, okay, so this is something I haven't thought about, because athletes never think about the future and never think about success. This is about practicing winning, practicing being there. This is the ultimate visualization. So when I did see them, they got their gold medal. They were very emotional behind the podium. Then they basically step up. And exactly as she had here in the office, she goes, I'm going to jump 3 times. Got onto the podium. She stepped up with the right foot, got up there, arms up, jumped 3 times. And I've gone, bang, that's that moment. That's the moment where it was so automatic and so built in and so ingrained that she probably didn't even know she was going to jump. But the brain went, I've already seen this before. I've done it before. I'm a firm believer that anyone can do anything, given the right belief, the right imagination, and the right mental strength and support to be able to get them there.
Awesome. Well, as I choose my sport for the next Olympics, I'm coming straight for you, buddy.
Cool.
Hey, thank you so much, Stuart Walter. You are amazing.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love sharing this. So it's just one of those things with hypnosis and understanding the power of the brain and how it can help.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.